When you build a company with intention of selling it, you build it completely different.
It's hard when there's two people wearing the same hat. It really is. I learned so much from that exit. First and foremost, it wasn't big. It wasn't like I could retire off it. There's no way. But I will tell you, the learning was worth every penny.
What's going on, everybody? Chris Naugle back with the Money School podcast, the show where we teach you how to take back control of your money by teaching you how to be the bank. And today I've got somebody that I've known since 2020, somebody that's exited 4 companies, run amazing businesses, and come to find out we had some similarities through this entire process. We're going to talk about how he did what he did. We're going to talk about the businesses he sold, what that was like. And we're going to talk about some of his mentorship and what he's doing today. And you are all going to get a ton of value out of this. So if you are ready, I'm going to welcome Cody Hoffine. Welcome to the show, man.
Chris, my man, it's been too long. I know we met back in the Wyoming days fishing, and fast forward, here we are, man. I know we crossed paths here and there again throughout the years, but dude, this is actually fun. I'm excited. I wish they could have caught a few, and maybe they'll start catching some of the stuff me and you were talking before we pushed record, but really honored to be here. It's going to be fun.
We definitely had some good discussions going on there, but let's just go back. I'm going to go back to when I met you, 2020. At that point, you were exiting your company, which was Wholesaling Inc. Let's talk. I want to go a little before that. Give me the journey up to how you created that company, because that company was then and still is, because you exited to about the most perfect person you could ever exit to. But you built up a really, really amazing company. Let's just talk about that to start.
Well, first, thank you. Those are super kind words. And I would tell you, those are one of those things you look back hindsight to see how the dots lined up. But in the making, you don't know what's going to happen. It's like all fearful and like, oh man, I hope I'm taking the right steps. Okay, I'll get there as quick as I can. 2010, my dad, he ends up, well, let's go back a little bit further. 2009 is finally when Utah got hit with the crash. My dad was doing a commercial account that was called RC Willey's. RC Willey's is owned by Warren Buffett. We were building these buildings for Warren Buffett. And it was something I did my whole entire life. Ever since I was 8, I was working for my dad. Come 2000, fast forward, end of 2009, he turns off like all new construction. He's like, nope, we gotta go through this market. He's a genius. The guy's smart. He knows how to ride waves. And so he's like, nope, we're not doing any more buildings. We're not doing this. Well, that killed my dad's business literally overnight. My dad and mom, they wanted to continue to pay me, but I'm like, I can't do this. Like, I'm not going to just take away from the bank when there's no work coming in. So I go out and I get a job. I get a job selling vinyl fencing of all things. And I'm there. I get the job. I end up doing pretty decent, but it's awful. It's awful hours, like awful hours. I'm talking, I was up at 6 to drive to my territory so I could sell the vinyl fencing, and I wouldn't get home till 8 p.m. I had 1 kid at the time, 1 kid on the way, and I left before they woke up, and I was home after they were in bed. Chris, I'm telling you, it is like, for someone that's passionate about family, it was awful. Like, I saw him on Saturday and Sunday, my kid, and it was not good. I just didn't like it. And so after 1 year, I was like, nope, not doing this anymore. I happened to meet a bunch of insurance agents. So they're like, why are you selling a vinyl fence? You tell me it's worth 30 years. Like, this is the one purchase I'll purchase from you. I'll never use you ever again. Like, get something that's renewal, like insurance. You should do it. And I'm like, hey, that actually sounds smart. So I start an insurance agency, and I grew that to, it was the top 3 fastest growing insurance agencies in Utah.
Was it PNC Insurance, Cody?
It was.
Yeah.
PNC. So it was all the home and auto, life insurance. And yes, we did a little bit of commercial. But what's interesting is I built it different because I'm a connector. I love like going to the source that can just feed you the deals versus going door to door and signing one policy at a time. So we grew that pretty dang quick. It is awesome. In 2015, there was some months where there were struggles. People don't buy insurance during the summer months. And that sounds crazy. It's like, no, insurance always renews. Yes, it does, but just not at the high rates like the other times in the months. So it happened to be, we had some bills due, and it happened to be that it was on those summer months when there's not a lot of money coming in. So 5 years here I am into insurance. I think I'm doing great because I'm at 6 figures, but it's not big 6 figures, low 6 figures. But I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to do great. I'm doing awesome. And then that month hits, and there's some bills that come in. We bought a home that has a pool. Don't ever buy a home with a pool in Salt Lake City. You open it for 4 months of the year. And we didn't know anything about it. The cover was old. So my boy like was walking on it, fell right through it. Those covers are like 20 grand. Like I'm talking crazy expensive. He was okay. But I will tell you, like little things like that, like these bills came out of nowhere. And I'm like, oh, what did I just do? So I come home early from work. My wife's crying at the table. She's wondering how to put food on the table or to pay the mortgage. I'm like, I hate this. I hate where this place I'm at, but it's my problem. It's not her problem. It's my problem. I'm a provider. 3 days later, I go to a local real estate investor association meeting. And I had been going there for 5 years, Chris. This makes zero sense that I did nothing but want to sell insurance. People are talking about wholesaling. They're talking about all this stuff, how they're making money. I never once heard it. All I heard was I own 3 rentals. I'm like, oh, that's a guy that I can write 3 policies for. And so
I know guys just like you that go to every RIA. They don't care about real estate at all. They're there to sell insurance policies.
Bro,
I got
5
your number,
years,
man.
5 years. And the only thing that can change that guy that you just explained is coming home and seeing their wife crying, saying there's not enough money in the bank. That changed me. So that 3 days later, I'm there at the same meeting I've been going to every single month religiously for 5 years. I go with a new set of ears. I hear this guy stand up. He says, I wholesaled this home. I found it 3 days ago, already assigned it, made 29 grand. And I'm like, that would change life like really, really quick. So I go up to him and ask him if he'll teach me. He says no. He's like, Cody, you're one of the most driven son of a guns out there. Like you will literally be my biggest competitor. I can't do it. And I kind of respected him, but at the same time, I'm like, bro, are you kidding me? So that's how I met Tom. So if you look at it hindsight, how it all lines up, I'm like searching online. I'm like, who's a good coach? I hear this joyful like guy named Tom Kroll, and he has this small company called Wholesaling Inc. And he's at the beginning stages of the coaching. I end up being one of his students, and I end up being kind of like I don't want to, how does the way to say it? I end up doing really well through his coaching. I end up kind of being his like poster board child where it's like, oh, this guy gripped it and like ran with it. So fast forward 2016, he's like, hey, let's expand. Let's grow. I end up buying half the company. You'll laugh. We might as well talk numbers so we can have fun with it. It was still a small coaching program. I bought 50% of the company for 100 grand.
Wow.
The best part is he's seller financed. He says, you don't even need to pay me cash. You can just take it from when we pay each other. You just leave yours. Like I'll take your payment, what you'd be paid every month. I paid it off in
crap. Like
3 months, Chris.
Totally just earned into this thing.
Oh, Chris, it gets better. The 100 grand was in his hands in 3 months. We were starting because I love sales. He doesn't love sales. He's a great coach, phenomenal cheerleader. He knows how to inspire people to just go out and take action. I love sales. So I grew this sales floor and it was game time. We started the podcast. We kind of just kept the fire. We just really put fire into it, I should say, and really blew that thing up. It ended up being the #1 podcast in the real estate space. It was #2 in the business category. We couldn't knock out Dave Ramsey. So again, it's not like I intentionally said, oh my gosh, I'm going to be building this big business. It wasn't a big business when I bought into it. I was going off of faith and hope that I thought like, dude, 2 good dudes wanting nothing but seeing people succeed. It's got to be a recipe for success. I wish I could say I was smart. I'm not smart. I just felt right. So I did it and it worked, Chris. It worked. It was awesome. It ended up being where we were coaching 3,500 students throughout the years nationwide. It was a $5 grand program. We were selling about $6-7 million worth of coaching every single year. It was phenomenal. It was good. It was great. And that's kind of what got me up to 2020 when I made the exit.
So, but if the company was going so good, like why did you guys want to exit it? You know, like things are going gangbuster, but then all of a sudden you guys decide you want to exit. What made that happen? I mean, was the opportunity presented to you guys? Did you guys seek out the buyer? Talk about that, because exiting a company has got to be like probably a pretty high priority for a lot of my audience, because they've got these companies and they're like, I don't know how to exit. I don't even know how to do this. Like, this is your first exit. So how did that play out?
First exit didn't pan out the way you wanted. Like you're thinking, oh man, something that's bringing in that kind of money, it's got to be a great exit, guys.
That's what I would have thought.
Yeah, it wasn't. Here's why. We built the company wrong. Me and Tom were the voices. We were the faces. We were the phone calls. We were the program. We were the course content. We were everything. And so a company where you are the full voice, you're wearing all the hats, and everyone, like when you're gone, what's the success of this company? No one knows. That's a massive gamble. So private equity, out of the game. Like it's not even close. So knowing what I know now, I would have kept the company. I would have. What led us to that was nothing ill will or nothing bad. Me and Tom were both visionaries. It's hard when there's two people wearing the same hat. It really is. Even though he's a great dude, I'm a great dude, our visions didn't align. How he wanted to do the company was kind of stay small, boutique. I really wanted to grow this even bigger. And I wanted to get into the point because me and my other business partner, Mark Stubler, who we had a wholesaling business, partnered. And our first year, we did like $1.5 million. Everyone was like, who are these guys? And we started this scale program where we were showing people what we were doing to scale to past $1 million. And so we loved big business. We loved where it wasn't just a hobby. And what we didn't love was just teaching someone how to do their first deal, because that doesn't help anyone. It's the consistent deal flow that helps people. And that's why we started Scale, and it was working. We had this event that we do at Lake Powell. We had an event that we do in our Salt Lake office. It was amazing. Tom didn't want to do that. I did. And so there's just differing visions.
That is tough. Two visionaries.
Tough. And it was there. He's a good dude. Yeah. No bad, no ill will. Literally, it's just two visionaries. It didn't work. And the best way to kind of separate was to sell. Knowing what I know now, it wasn't the best way. I would have still owned the company. So is there regret? No, there's not regret. I still think life is going perfectly for me. I think life is going perfectly for you. And for all the ones listening right now, like life is perfectly happening for us. Mm-hmm. I learned so much from that exit. First and foremost, it wasn't big. It wasn't like I could retire off it. There's no way. It wasn't that grand. But I will tell you, the learning was worth every penny, because that's what led me to the company that I have today that actually could be purchased by a private equity. And everyone's like, Joe Homebuyer, what's this Joe Homebuyer? I'm like,
I love the name. I love the name.
Well,
it's like Joe. It's
the
just
fact
the most...
that no one knows who the owner is.
Who's Joe?
It's the best part. So it's not the Cody Hoffine show. It's not the Cody Homebuyer. It's Joe Homebuyer. And when people hear it, they're like, who are the owners of Joe Homebuyer? I'm like, I built this right this time. I built this right.
Yeah.
And so here we are growing a franchise. So we franchised it, and we have 70 active franchisees that we're actively helping grow. And that's where we're at today. And we have built this way, Chris. We built this one that should we ever want to exit, it's built in a way that definitely has an exit. And because it's a franchise model with royalty, the multiples are really, really attractive for private equity groups.
Well, let's unpack that a little bit. I think this is really important, and I think a lot of people really want to know this. So you built your first company. You guys were just building it, kind of just throwing things out there, doing great, but then it really didn't have an intrinsic value from the sale point. You sold it, but you didn't have like that big exit. But now, Joe Homebuyer, you're building, and I would assume you started it with more of an intent to be able to exit that. And I can relate, because I've built many companies. Like my first company I exited was a skateboard, snowboard shop. You want to talk about a company that doesn't have a good exit? That's it. But boy, was it fun doing it. Like it was my dream, for all those years. And I sold it, but just like you, barely enough to like get to the next level. But when you build a company with intention of selling it, you build it completely different. It is built, like you said, where nobody knows the person that owns it, right? Like who owns, is it Joe? Who's Joe? But let's just unpack a little bit more about it, because number one, I'm fascinated with this topic. Yeah. And I know you've got some really good mentors. And Cody, I want you to say the same, your take on this, but I think one of the biggest misses is people fail to get mentors that have done what that person wants to do. They go out there and they get a mentor, but that mentor has never done what they actually want to do, or says that they did it, but they actually didn't do it. We're not going to go there. But nonetheless, like you got to find a mentor that has done what you're trying to do, because they've walked the walk, they've talked the talk, they know how to do it. So they can help you like not make the mistakes. Like, so I'm just going to turn it over to you because I'm talking too much, but this is fascinating topics. Folks, pay attention right here.
So Chris, you nailed on the head. In fact, so much so that legit within the last 48 hours, I did a story that was, guys, let me give you a secret sauce to winning. It's not I'm smart. I'm not. I have a high school degree. It's not any of those things. It's not because I have a smile that's on my face 99% of the days. Like it's just anyone catches me, Cody's smiling. It's not that. It helps, but it's not that. It's not that I went to Turkey and lowered my hairline and added some hair down here. Like it's none of that stuff. It's none of that stuff. At the end of the day, What it really is, Chris, is it comes down to who I surround myself with. So when Jim Rohn says you're the average of the 5 you spend the most time with, what is that? And I have certain areas in my life that I want to make sure that those 5, they're not the same for all areas. Someone I learned commercial real estate from wasn't the person that I want to learn how to parent from. And so it's not that it's the same 5 for all my areas. It's different 5 for each area. And I'm really surrounding myself with the best people. But more importantly, I think probably you would say the same. I at least set aside 10% of my income every single year that I invest in myself through mentorship. So I'm going to go someone that's in the destination that I want to learn from. I don't want to, if I want to be a millionaire, I'm not going to go to a Walmart bagger and ask for the game plan. Like, it's just not going to happen. It's not going to add up for me, right? And it's interesting how many people, when you ask what you want to do, the people that are readily just right there to tell you their opinion on it are the people that probably have never been there. The people that are actually in that destination, they're out there first and foremost, and there's a cost to them. And I'm okay with that cost because I've never looked at it. And I say that word by design because it's not a cost, it's an investment. And with investments, you either make good investments or bad investments. Me and you have both made bad investments in mentors before. Agreed. But I've also made the greatest investments in mentors in my life that's been more than 10x. It's been not just multiplying my income, it multiplies my momentum. And with momentum, I can do a lot more. So I love that you bring up the fact that your listeners, what's one big secret? Put yourself in the rooms of those that are in the destination that you want to be at, because you will become the average of them.
Yeah, Earl Nightingale talks about this, and I didn't mean to break into the story, but I'm a huge Earl fan. I listen to him every morning on my run or my bike ride to the office, and Earl talks about protect your earning power. Now, I know with that saying, you're not thinking that what he's meaning is protect your earning power by continue investing in yourself, invest in the golden goose, the number one person in your life, and that's you. You are the one that's going to make the difference, and that's what you just said. So, yeah. And I couldn't agree with you more that the people that can help you get where you want to be are never the ones that knock on your door. They're the ones that you have to go and knock on their door. And, as Sermon on the Mount, ask and you shall receive, seek and you shall find, knock and the door shall open. And that's what you just said. You literally gave the blueprint for what it takes to get there. Now, the question is how many people that are listening to this podcast are going to pick that golden nugget up and do something with it? Or how many are going to sit there and be like, oh, well, I don't have any money to pay them. Find it. That's it's always the thing I say. You say you don't have the money, therefore you will never have the money. If you believe you will have the money because this is the door you need to go through, it will appear. I can't explain that, but it happens. I've lived it too many times to not believe. It is an absolute, not a if, it's an absolute if you just believe. And that's where faith comes in. Like, I don't want to make this about faith, but like faith is what it's all about. If you have faith that you can do something, you can do it. And Cody, like your smile and everything else, your family, you're definitely a family man, 4 kids. Real quick, let's pause. Got to know, how old are the kids now? Because they were little back then. Now, I saw some photos. They're not so little.
Yes. No, they are not. So 17-year-old boy, his name's Bentley. And that was literally, I was like, every man's got to have a Bentley. And so it's like, maybe I won't be able to purchase the car, so I'll have a son. And then my little girl that's not little anymore, like she's now no, I'm so sorry. Yeah, she is. She's 15 on the 29th. So in here just a couple days. Kenley, and then Hayden is 12, and I'm like, holy crap, this is happening so fast. And then my littlest is 8. Her name is Harper, and 4 kids, 4 no more. But dude, I love them, and they teach me so much. In fact, they teach me more than business teaches me, and prepares me more for business than anything else.
I love it. I love it. Your real estate business lives and dies by the network and the connections that you make. I mean, after all, your network, well, it's your net worth. That's what you always heard, right? If that's an area where you desire improvement, well, Private Money Club, it's for you. PMC saves you precious time and money by bringing the real estate world, well, right to you, right in the palm of your hand. So get in on the action like so many others have by going to privatemoneyclub.com and sign up. So, folks, if you want to, learn more, like just go to his Instagram page. He shares it, and he's right. Like, I've never seen a picture of you, never seen a video, never seen a podcast where you are not smiling the whole time. It's freaking contagious, man. So there's just some days you're like, Cody, stop smiling, man. I don't want to smile.
Bro, and these muscles don't get tired. Like everyone's like, when I smile that long, my mouth hurts. I'm like, mine doesn't. I think I've been smiling my whole life. So it's like I've trained these muscles. I think it would hurt to frown actually for me. I think it's one of my natural things that I'm just an upbeat person. It's hard to get Cody Hoffine down. It really, really is.
That's awesome. All right, we're going to go back to Joe Homebuyer here. So Joe Homebuyer, you built that with intention. It's a franchisee. You got 70 franchises out there now. And I want to just make mention, I don't think you can say who they are, but there's some like players. There's some big
we can mention some of them.
Let's just talk about some of your franchises because that's bragging rights right there.
It's fun because you have something great when you can sell the big hitters. And I would consider the big hitter, one of them that bought our company, Wholesaling Inc., was Brent Daniels. He was our third purchaser. So not even like, oh, let's wait till it's massively proven and see if it works. He was the third purchaser of our franchise and has had wild success on that side because he's such a fantastic coach. It's hard for any man or any woman for that matter to focus on two things and be great at two things at the same time. And so he was able to tap into us, leverage us to train this team, train his staff. They fly out to our place. We train them in Salt Lake. They jump off the plane and they do it the Joe way, right? And so that's been massive for him so he can continue to focus on what he's been called to do, and that's coach. He's a fantastic coach. Yeah. Jerry Norton, I mean, the dude's the OG of YouTube when it comes to real estate. The guy's probably been in it longer than anyone. I think he was even before Sean Terry, to be honest. He owns 10 of them. And so it's like not just one, it's winning big for him where he says, well, let's go 10. The guy wants to be the largest wholesaler around the nation. He hates like doing it virtual. He says, no, I need boots on the ground. I need them to be trained your way. And so sends them out. We train them our way. They go back out. But fun stuff. So those are two big names. And because of it, if you can imagine who all those guys play with, when we have our events and we have our get-togethers with all of our Joes, even the bigger players come out and speak on our stages, and they're glad to be there. Like they want to be there. They want to be part of this culture, part of this community that we've built.
Yeah, because they're not really showing up because you're writing a check to them like so many of the other speakers. They're showing up because they're part of your community.
That's right. We have never paid for a speaker, and I don't mean that. I'm so grateful that they don't charge us. Don't get me wrong. Like it's not about, oh, we're so cool, they don't charge us. It's the community's so special. I truly believe when they leave, even their lives are touched. Even as much as they come and give on our stage, I think they leave receiving something back. And that to me is pretty dang special.
That is special. Now so you got these players, you got 70 of them. What does the next 5 years for Joe Homebuyer look like? Now, I want to go two different ways. Number one, you've built a company that could be sold. Private equity would look at this and this would be this would be a business. They would see intrinsic value. They would have tangible reasons to buy this company. But you've got a new mentor that's kind of steering you a different way. So I now want, and this is personal. So folks, whoever's listening, watching, like glad you're here. If you're liking this, click the like button. But this is for Chris right now. 5 years from now.
Yeah.
What is Joe Homebuyer?
So let me tell you 2 years from now what's crazy. So are you familiar with the book 10X is Easier Than 2X?
Absolutely.
Great book, right? Phenomenal book. So Benjamin Hardy and his new business partner, Blake Erickson, they own a company called The Science of Scaling. Their whole philosophy behind now a book that no one knows about, that it's coming out in the future that I already have my hands on, is called The Science of Scaling. It's their newest book. It's the two of those guys. So it's no longer Benjamin Hardy with Dan Sullivan. It's now Benjamin Hardy and this Blake Erickson. Two good dudes. And their whole philosophy behind this is dream impossible. And I think too many times, if you think about this, how maybe, I don't know, maybe if you're guilty of this, I was definitely guilty of this, where sometimes our dreams are linear. It's based off of past results. So it's like, oh, if last year I was able to do this, next year I should set my goal like 10%, 20% better. Versus impossible thinking or impossible goals are what help us create impossible ideas and get into this creative mode that actually can produce it. So if instead of saying, hey, I did 1 million this year, so next year I want to do 1.5. What if you said, I did 1 million this year, next year I want to do 10? what that would make you do is sit there and really now start brainstorming. Okay, I can't do what I did last year. I've got to do way better and way more than that. So what is it that's going to get me there? And it gets you to start thinking differently. And that's what we've done. So our 2-year goal, to put in perspective, we'll probably be at 15 $1 million producers that are our franchise owners by the end of this year. And if you look at it from trajectory, we've been in operation for 5 years. It took us 5 years to get there. Now, there's so much building in it that's involved in all of just building out the systems and all that stuff in the first place. But 5 years to get 15. By the end of 2027, which is 2.5 years, we want to be at 100. So everyone would be like, dude, how's that even possible? You got to 15 in 5 years. How are you going to, in 2.5 years, get to 100? Well, that beautiful, impossible goal is now unlocking these new thinking, this new creativity mindset of like, okay, we got to get with more Brent Daniels, more Jerry Nortons, more of these industry leaders that have our avatar sitting in it. That's one way of doing it. Then we started thinking even more. We're like, wait a second. Instead of just, because to be a Joe, you already have to be an up and coming business. You can't be someone that's just a zero and wants to learn. Brent Daniels, we refer him a ton of business. People come to us like, we want a Joe. And I'm like, have you done a deal? They're like, no, right. Dude, go learn from this guy, go get a business going. And then once you've gotten some deals under your belt, then come back. But now we're like, wait, what if we had this impossible goal? We need basically, let's say 60, and that math doesn't add up. 60 and 15 is not 100. But what we're finding out is many of ours, like Brent, like Jerry, expand into multiple territories. So really what we're looking for is 100 territories that are doing $1 million per territory. So it got our brains thinking. And we're like, okay, what if we just bypass the $500,000 people? And it's like, no, we're the white glove. Like, we're the ones that are the prestige. We're the ones that has the community full of $1 million producers. What if we just start going after $1 million producers and say, this is the place you want to be? Like, if you want to grow past $1 million, 2 million and go to 3, 4, 5, I mean, we can't talk crazy numbers. It's FDD, FTC regulated. So I can't even share money claims, but we have people with these big goals of where they want to go, and they're going there. And so now it's like, okay, really then all we need is $61 million producers as our new avatar. And let's go do that in 2.5 years. And we're at that number.
Nice.
You know what I mean? It's just different thinking. I'm guilty as charged of thinking linear. And it's like, quit thinking linear. Think impossible, and it gets your brain to think and find new ways of thinking.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, listen, like we've all heard it, your thoughts are things. And if you can dream it, you can believe it, you can achieve it. These are all things.
Bro, Bob Proctor, are you quoting Bob Proctor on that? Bro, he's my favorite. Like, if you can hold it in your head, you can hold it in your hands. Like, I love that dude.
And he gets that all from Napoleon Hill. Like, Think and Grow Rich. Yeah, that was pretty much what his entire baseline was. He was an unbelievable man. I spoke on many stages at Secret Knock with Mr. Greg Reed and Bob Proctor. So it was awesome. Just being in his proximity was amazing. Yeah, he was a super human being.
Yeah.
Gosh, it's kind of like, he's gone. And then, Hulk Hogan passed away.
What? I just found that out today. I was like, wait, what?
Gone. I just at
71
2 years ago, I believe it was. Like, I'm on stage, like the man's hands are bigger than my head, and I'm like, I'm with Hulk Hogan, my childhood hero,
right?
And he's gone today. But he
cardiac arrest at 71 years old.
Yeah. And then Ozzy yesterday. It's just been one after the other going down. So it's just like, listen, folks, we're here for a limited amount of time. We got to enjoy the journey. We got to enjoy the ride, and I love that you've always stayed true to family, and I love that we opened this thing where you were out there doing the fence sales and you're working, sun up to sundown, not even seeing your kids. And you're like, this is not the life. But unfortunately,
and this is when I was broke, where I needed that money.
But that's what drives it a lot of times, because we get so used to working for money. We get so used to, in our early years, we trade time for money, and we get in the cycle where we just keep doing that. And eventually we're out of time. And then it's a sacrifice. It's like, I need the money because I got to put food on the table, pay the mortgage, buy a new cover for the pool that my son just fell through. I need money. So we just keep trading more time. Yeah. But the secret's always been there. And it isn't about working more and spending less time with the family and making, I call that the ultimate sacrifice, because then time flies by. Your kids are 15, 8, 17, I think you said.
Yeah,
and
17,
it's just like
15, 12, and 8.
Yeah. So I got it close, but I was missing a little. And then all of a sudden you're just like, where did the time go? You can't buy the time back. I love Dan Martell, buy your time back. But once it's gone, it's gone. So like the faster we learn how to get our time back, to buy our time back, the better off we are. And the best way to do that is doing what you're doing. Think huge, think unlimited, think massive, but also have your money work for you. You mentioned 10%, how you reinvest 10% back into yourself. Like, listen, that's a universal law to basically keep 10% of the money you make. Now, most say keep it and save it and let it compound, but you let it compound with investing in yourself, with you getting knowledge.
Way better than compound interest, right?
You're the golden goose, man.
Yeah.
You're the golden goose. And I love this thinking, but this isn't original to Cody, folks. This stuff's been around since pretty much probably the beginning of mankind, but we've just not been taught to tap into these things, and we haven't been taught the secret to getting where we want. And the secret's always been simple. Work hard, get ahead, invest in yourself, and then allow your money to work for you to then give you time back. That's it. And I love this because you're talking about Joe Homebuyer. You're talking about all these other people you're helping get to this $1 million, and your goal is to scale that. So you're serving others. You're solving other people's problems because they all want to make more money. You're giving them the blueprint, which is Joe Homebuyer. And folks, we'll give you like where you can learn more about Joe Homebuyer in a second. But I'm trying to get through this, and then eventually all of that is working for you, and then you're going to have all this money. And I'm sure you're there, Cody, but let's go down this rabbit hole just for 1 second. Money, and most of you listening to this, you may not understand this at this point up, but I promise you, at a point in your life, you will fully understand this. You remember when, Cody and myself said this to you. Money has a diminishing return. The more money you make, the less important money is. The more things you have, the less important those things are. A matter of fact, I study the wealthy, and I just read an amazing book. All of you should read it. It's Barista to Billionaire, and it talks about this too. You get to a certain point where you got the book right there? I thought maybe you had that book. Of course.
Yeah, no, I have read that book. I was like, now that 8-year-old, you can hear downstairs. I'm like, Harper, shut the door, please. Shut the door. Dad's live. Dad's live.
But yeah, so you get all these things, you got all this money, and then all of a sudden you're just like, I got all this money, I can do anything I want. And now what you do next is you give it all away. Like you can talk about Gates, Buffett, all these wealthy billionaires, you know what they do? They sign this pact called the money tree. They give all their money away. And I know that's hard to realize, but it's because of what I just said. Money has a diminishing return. The more you have, the less important it is. And what is important is the value you bring to your life. Now that's your family, the giving, the charities, and everything else. But like, I'm at the early sides. Like I'm probably 3 years into this journey, and it's miraculous. My whole life, I'll be 48 Monday. My whole life I've been working to make all this money. Then you get to the point where you're making money. You still got a lot further to go, but you're making all this money, and you're like, this isn't as cool as I thought. And you got, the cars. I'm a Porsche collector. I got all these Porsches, and I'm like, I like them, but like now the thing isn't as exciting anymore. And then I created a foundation, and then I put money into the foundation, and me and my wife spend a ton of time figuring out who are we going to help, what problem are we going to solve for the world, what are we going to do? And I get lit up. I'm like, this is the greatest thing ever. And all I'm doing, folks, is giving money away to other people. Now I know some are like, oh, you can do that when you have money. No, the habit starts when you don't have money. You have to start thinking this when you don't have money. Otherwise, when you do, you will not understand, and you will do it wrong, and you will lose it all. Yeah. So have you witnessed this? You have to have.
Yeah, Chris, here's the thing. And this could go against the grain for many people of what they teach, but the byproduct is the point. It's not about follow what Cody Hoffine does, other than what I learned for doing it this way. So in 2018, I'm sitting on stage. I'm speaking at one of our Wholesaling Inc. events. There's about 250 people I'm looking at, and I get the crazy like thing where I'm like, put my back against the wall, say something crazy so that you're held accountable. And so I'm like, hey guys, I have $295,000 left on my mortgage. I'm paying it off this year. Like that's my goal. It was April, and I remember my wife holding like our newborn, and she's looking at me and she's like, what? Like, what did you just say? Like, you're nuts. Like, you're crazy. Where are we going to come up with this extra $295,000? But I throw it out there, and we paid it off in October of that same year. And people are like, oh my gosh, he did it. I did it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I did it. Now, for many people, they'd be like, you're stupid. You're crazy. Like that money was 2.95%. Like you're crazy. Why would you pay it off? That's the cheapest money in the world. To that point, I agree. I absolutely agree with everything that I got thrown at me during this time. Here was the one thing that it unlocked that I didn't know is going to unlock. Is this whole life is about me, and taking care of my wife and my kids and just providing. When we were 100% out of debt, I didn't expect this to happen. It wasn't about saving 2.95% interest. That's free money. It really is. But I'm like, here's what it was. My perspective shifted from internal to external. And when I woke up, I didn't feel stress. That to me is already worth being debt free. The second part about it was you'd go to a grocery store and you'd find a family that you could tell needed some help, and I get chills and I will probably tear up a little bit, and you just feel inspired to just help these people. And I know these families were around Chris the prior years. I know they were there, those families that still needed that help, and I couldn't see it because I was so fixed on myself and taking care of home base. But when home base is taken care of, you start to see the world different. You start to see all these people that do have needs, and you get to bless their lives with that. And for me, that is special and why we remain debt free, because of that gift of Cody doesn't have to think internally. He gets to think externally every single day and just find people with needs. And the crazy thing that it unlocks is when all you do is just worry about other people, it just keeps coming back magically tenfold. And God's the giver of all, and you can't outgive the giver. So when you think you're doing great, it just keeps multiplying back. And that to me is a gift. And I know it's unorthodox, it's untraditional from many people's strategy. I didn't do it to save 2.95%. And I didn't even know I was going to learn what I learned. But I'm so grateful that I learned what I learned. And we now send people out that we're with the LDS church, and we have missionaries that go out for 2 years. And there's a lot of missionaries that can't afford their mission. Well, it changed my life those 2 years that I was on mission. And so now we fund those missionaries to go on those missions. And
Awesome.
Chris, it's a gift. It's a gift. And I think if I had a mortgage payment, I would think differently. I would think about, well, I can't put a missionary out. I still have to pay off this mortgage. And I never have to worry about that. And so when someone needs something, I'm glad to give. And that's the lesson I've learned, Chris.
It's so important. And what you said, and I would have been that one rare bird in that audience if I was there that would have been like, absolutely pay it off. And everybody's like, no, it's 2.95. It's not about the 295. It's about taking back the control of not owing somebody something, of not feeling like you are chained to this thing, that if something goes wrong, you're going to have to deal with that. You were free, which then opened your eyes. The door opened. You now saw things completely different. That was beautiful, man. That was absolutely beautiful. And folks, I hope you all heard that. And I hope you all listened very carefully to what he just said, because I know everybody's very quick to say, oh, I wouldn't have paid my house off at 2.95. That's not the point. It's not the point at all. And you just heard it. The point was he saw the world differently, and that has transformed his entire outlook now. So Cody, back to Joe Homebuyer. Where do people learn about Joe? Like,
Yes.
Where do we go for that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you'll see me on my Instagram handles. Guys, even though you may find me on Facebook, I'm not active on Facebook. And so I don't really react there or respond there, but Instagram, definitely find me there. But joehomebuyerfranchising.com is where you can start to learn. We do webinars often. You can hear about that through just my Instagram. I usually do stories pointing people to that. Message me. It's me that still manages my messages, because I do want heartfelt messages going back. If someone's going to take time to respond and say the kind things they say to me, I don't want a paid person to take care of that. I want to thank them personally. So it is me. So if you're on Instagram and you message me, you're going to get me. That's definitely the place to go. Something I'm really excited about, Chris, we'll have to get you out, is August 4th is a release of my own podcast, The Cody Hoffine Show. I'm absolutely excited about that. I feel like it's time. I've been on hold for so many years, just trying to recreate myself, re-find myself. And this journey has been amazing ever since I sold Wholesaling Inc. and I did podcasting, and it was so fun. but there were so many years that I just had to refine who I am and what I'm doing and what my identity was. My identity was attached to that Wholesaling Inc. I went through 2 years of, when I say dark, not dark, meaning I was clueless as to what I was going to do next. I lost everything in my mind, like in the sense of, what am I going to do? Because I was so attached to Cody, the Wholesaling Inc. coach. And when I sold that, all of a sudden I felt like I was nobody. And I went through 2 years of just redesigning, and part of going through Joe Homebuyer, the first couple of years, I was still like, is this it? And then I found it, like the fire came back in the belly, and there was a purpose and a reason and all that stuff. And so this podcast, why it's been waiting this long, has been for perfect timing. And now it's ready, and it's going to get released on August 4th. And I'm excited to actually have you out, my friend, for be a guest on mine. This is going to be
count me in, man.
Stuff.
Count me in. Yeah. Sign me up for one of the first ones. I'll get on a plane. I'll be out there. Let's make this happen.
Let's go.
Love it. All right, folks. Listen, I wrote all this down in the details above. Now that we're kind of wrapping this show, I'm going to put all that information there. I'm going to give you his IG handle. I'm going to give you the website, joehomebuyerfranchising.com, and I'm going to give you the ability to definitely get a hold of him. Now do that. Go on, like him on Instagram, follow him. It's amazing watching this stuff, seeing his kiddos and everything else. Like, that's the best thing about IG, is you get to get a look behind the curtain at someone's life. Some show it, some don't. Cody does. So make sure you get around the campfire, check it out, go to Joe Homebuyer's website, and just see what they're doing. It's special. With that being said, folks, thank you so very much for joining us for this epic podcast. Go out there, take back control of your money, and do it faster than you think you can, because that is all it takes. The thought and the faith that it can happen. Cody, thank you so much for joining me on this episode. Really appreciate it.